So it's another cold morning here on Dartmoor, and I've got it in mind to say something about Aries and Pisces, the first and final sign of the zodiac, because they're associated with the body, and Aries is the head, then Taurus, the sort of face and the neck, Gemini, the lungs, and so on, all the way down to Pisces, that is the feet. And so you can make all sorts of symbolic associations as you go on, as you go down. And and I'm tying this in just with what we are as humans, because what's unique, in a way, we're the animal that stands on 2 feet. Yeah. Our heads are away from the earth. They're above the earth. Well, giraffes are too. Yeah, I'll give it to them. In fact, their heads are a lot higher than ours, but they have at least got 4 feet on the ground, and that's the thing. And our removal from the ground by lifting our feet up is what removes us from the ground. And so we have this tendency to think we're above nature. Nature is the ground. Nature is the earth. Everything comes out of the earth. And so it's a perennial human tendency to think that we're above nature. And the journey, the astrological journey, is from Aries to Pisces. It's from that place of the head down to that place of the feet that returns home. You see, Pisces is ruled by Neptune. It's about the return home. And the home is the feet. The feet are what connects us to the earth. The earth is our home. So life is a journey back home, from the head to the earth, to the feet. It sort of ties in with indigenous thinking, because I think astrology, it's sort of aligned with the Christian tradition. You'll see, and the Christian tradition is more about this ascension through the spheres into higher and higher states of consciousness. Because, of course, God puts man above the creatures, and certainly above the earth. He puts man above woman as well. Evolution does the opposite. Well, it doesn't do the opposite. But you've got from God downwards in the Christian tradition. In evolution, you've got from the rocks upwards. Yeah. Life came out of the rocks and stones, and plants and animals, then eventually get man. So man again is on top. Yeah. In fact, he's even more on top because he hasn't got God above him. He reigns supreme. That's the sort of Aries in its full imbalance. And we've entered Pluto in Aquarius in recent couple of years. And the 3 air signs are the 3 signs that have no animal in their symbolism. They're most removed from the animal. And Aquarius, as the final air sign, is the most removed from the instinctual of all. And the journey for Aquarians is around that return to the instinctual. Or at least it can be. It needs to be. It's an interesting interplay there. And, we're moving into the AI. Yeah, Pluto in Aquarius, the sign of invention, and but also that removal from the body. So AI is if you like, is the ultimate in being cerebral. It's completely removed from the body. It's being done by a machine, but it's doing the intelligence that we do. And what's even more strange, if you like, about it, is they're trying to create robots. So they're even trying to replicate the body which does it. Yeah. So there's all sorts of consideration there around what is happening with AI. And I don't think AI is bad. I find it strange, when I get these answers, that are so well thought through and full of consideration for me and encouragement and all of that. It's very hard for me to believe that is just something impersonal and soulless that is doing that. That's not what I feel. I'm still mystified and spooked by how it does it. So in a way, we're in Aries territory here. Aries, remote from the feet. And Aquarius also has that symbolism of that remoteness from the body. And so, yeah, I was saying, I'm wandering around a bit here, but there's all sorts of subjects that sort of interweave. I was saying about the Christian tradition, and it's God downwards, yeah? So we're above nature. So Christianity enshrines that superiority to nature. God in the Old Testament gives people dominion over the beasts. And, well, the defenders of Christianity will say, well, it means a responsibility. And yes, I'm sure it means that. But it is also taken, however you interpret it, it's still also taken as a superiority because it's human nature. We like to feel superior. We like to feel superior to the person next to us. We like to be cleverer than them. We want to be more beautiful than them. We want to be better at this and better at that. It makes us feel good. Yeah. And that's that Aries. Aries is an intensely competitive sign. It is ruled by Mars, the warrior. And then by the time you get all the way to Pisces, it's the ultimate in humility. Yeah. You'll know better than anyone. We're all in the gutter, but some of us are looking up at the stars. So, of course, the shadow of Pisces is being a bit hopeless and not thinking you're good at anything. But it does have that wonderful, unassuming humility. And I think Aquarius can do as well, because it's the sign before Pisces. It's on its way there. It is a kind of transpersonal sign. So yes, Christianity enshrines this superiority to nature. Jordan Peterson, he veers towards Christianity, but he can't quite bring himself to become a Christian. But he lets his wife do it for him. She converted to Catholicism. But he said in one of his, when he'd been interviewed or interviewing someone a year or two ago, he goes, God is not in nature, he goes. And now he's ill. And I think they're connected. Well, because God or the Great Spirit is everywhere. How can it not be? We are nothing but the earth. The earth takes care of us. And so that's just that human hubris writ large. And the Native American stories are full of this human tendency towards hubris, to getting above ourselves. They're full of the trickster, if you like, who in the stories, he gets self-important. I'm really good at this. I'm really good at that. Yeah, I'm the greatest. Yeah, I can do this. I can do that. And then something happens and he comes unstuck. And so they're teaching. They're good stories, but they're always teaching you again and again, about self-importance. Because once we've got self-importance, we're no longer connected to the natural world. And so indigenous people well understood this. So I think astrology is caught somewhere between the Christian tradition and its ascension through the spheres and this connection to, or where it came out of, because it came before Christianity. It came out of these indigenous ways of seeing. Astrology is really about the gods whispering. Mars, Venus, Pluto. They speak through you. If you're an astrologer having a good day, you won't just be following the rules. You'll have this other thing, this other inspiration. It's like, oh yes, it can mean that as well, can't it? And you come out with that and it's just the right thing to say. You don't know why you came out with it, but you did. And that's because that God turned up, and it's still congruent with the tradition, but it was the right bit that you came out with. That's how it works. There's 20 different things you could say, and you come out with the right one for that person, then it comes to you. So, and these gods, they're not moral. Yeah, they're natural. God, in the Christian tradition, he judges. Yeah, and when you die, you will be judged. You will be reckoned. And it's given morality a bad name, because morality is maybe the most important thing of everything, of all, because it's us holding ourselves to account. That's what it is. Yeah, demanding of ourselves in a good way, but in a severe sort of way. You see this in the Russian soul. You see it in Solzhenitsyn. Probably in Dostoevsky as well, this sort of importance of holding yourself. Solzhenitsyn, sent to exile in America, he found the Americans flabby and soft and decadent. That's how he viewed it. And I think he was right. I mean, I don't want to put down Americans, but our culture has become decadent in certain ways. So astrology is caught between that Christian ascension mode, yeah, and that indigeneity, where it's these gods speaking through you, but they're also natural, yeah, and they get up to all sorts. They're not above us in that sort of sense. And we're on the journey back to that, from Aries to Pisces. If you like, it's the journey from that superiority of Christianity back to the humility of indigeneity, when our feet eventually touch the ground. And yeah, I like to say about Pluto, he turned up 100 years ago or so, gradually entered astrology. He lives under the ground. He's not up there in the sky. He's not in the celestial spheres. Well, he is, of course he is, but he's not visible. But he's under the ground. He's like astrology reclaiming indigeneity. That's one way I like to put it. That our roots are in the earth. Our spirits are in the sky, but not in the sense of something superior. It's like you've got the sky, you've got the ocean, you've got the earth. They're all inspirited in an equal kind of way. So we're on this journey back to Pisces. And the thing about Pisces is it's not a grounded sign. It's the most ungrounded sign of all. This is the paradox. And yet it is the feet that gives us our grounding. And I haven't quite worked out this paradox, and maybe I will as I speak. Because Pisces, when you're in Pisces, it has no boundaries. You are everything. We remember that we're not these separate individuals, but we are connected to everything. Aries is the sign that is most individual, most separate. It's just been born. Here I am. I've turned up, and this is what I want. Yeah, and we need that. We need that to live. It's really important to have that in you. But it eventually needs to become in the service of that greater reality. Aries, if you like, is the warrior, and the warrior needs to be in the service of the king, or he gets disconnected from his heart. And in this case, the king is everything. It's the whole universe. It's the great spirit, which is, in a way, it's a very feminine principle. Yeah. So it's in service to the feminine, not the king, the queen, the empress, who is everything. And so that's what we're gradually learning to do as we go through the signs and learn about the signs. We're increasingly putting them in the service of Pisces. And that's what brings us back home. That's what brings us back to the earth. So the earth, in one sense, is something very literal and solid, and we need to feel connected to it and connected to our body. But it is also inspirited. And Pisces reminds us of that. That the earth is inspirited. You can lie on the earth. You can feel her heart with your heart. And you can feel her care for you. And you can let all your sorrows into her. She can take them. She will take them. She's massive. She's vast. She's infinite. And she has all the healing that you'll ever need. You just need to lie on her. And that's that reconnection that Pisces gives us. But it's to an inspirited earth. It's still just as real, just as solid, but it has that subtlety and that sensitivity of the spirit. And that's something we've forgotten. We debate whether the spirit is real. If you're an astrologer, you know it's real. You know it's what you're born with. Aries is the spirit we're born with. It's not our DNA. It's not our parents. It's not all that conditioning. Important as though that is, because that helps us arrive. Yeah, it gives us our challenges. Yeah, gives us our context, gives us our language, gives us our rules for living, which we negotiate, gives us our tribe. Yeah. At the same time, there's this spirit that is the strongest factor of all that we're born with. This isn't understood. Psychotherapists, a lot of them, they will agree with that. Yes, we have a spirit, but they have to remain respectable. They have to remain scientific. So they don't give it the full credence they need to. So it means they don't understand the human fully. They give too much emphasis to these things that are observable, DNA and nurture. Important as they are, they're not as important as they're given. Yeah? It's the spirit that is the strongest thing of all. It needs to be taken very seriously. Trailing clouds of glory do we come from God who is our home, as Wordsworth sang. So that's what we're born with, that very strong spirit, and it's finding its reconnection back to Pisces, back to the earth, the mother, the great mother. That's the journey. And away from that natural preening of itself that Aries has. Look at me. I'm above the earth. I'm better than the earth. Yeah. Back to this, I'm nothing but the earth. And I love her. And she loves me. And that is Pisces. And that's the completion of the journey. And that's when you really do have your feet on the ground.